Welcome to the IHC Web Service platform, which offers advanced attribution as a service. In this video, we will guide you through on how to easily compute IHC attribution on your customer journey data. IHC is a new type of attribution based on three customer interaction stages, called initializer, holder, and closer. Using IHC attribution, you are able to evaluate the performance of your marketing activities across those three stages, which are representing awareness, product orientation, and action or checkout. Have a look at our information. Now, what is the IHC web service? Basically, it is an API to compute IHC attribution results on your customer journeys. The web service is focused on those marketeers that want to see advanced attribution results on their data. Using those attribution results, marketeers are able to evaluate and optimize their marketing activities. You might see that certain channels and campaigns are especially strong in terms of attracting new customers, while others have their strengths more in terms of finalizing conversions. Let's jump into the IHC platform. On the main page, you can see your API token, as well as how many API calls you have left in the current month. On the bottom, you can also see your usage over the days and see for your current month, the current week, and for the last week, how many API calls you had on every given day. Let's train the IHC model to a new conversion type. Let's jump into the parameter training page. On this page, you can either choose an existing conversion type to retrain the IHC model or create a new conversion type for the IHC model to train on. On the right-hand side, you can also find two example files of the format that is required to train the parameters. One is in format of a JSON, another one is in the format of a CSV file. Let's create a new conversion type and upload some training data. Let's call this IHC training data test. We can also give email addresses that should be informed as soon as the training has finished. Now let's upload a training dataset. Let's click here and upload now, in this case, a CSV file. You can of course also upload a JSON file. Now this file has been added and we can submit the dataset for training. The upload was successful. You will receive an email to your provided email address as soon as the training is complete. This might take some time depending on the size of your training set. After a couple of minutes, you should have received an email telling you that the IHC model was successfully trained. The email will mention the conversion type ID, in our case IHC training data test, and that you can now use the endpoint to use the API. Now that the IHC parameters are trained, let's look at the parameters. On the IHC parameter page, we can select the conversion type ID and look at those parameters. In our case, we will select IHC training data test. On the top, you can see the membership functions for the initializer and the closer stage. Below, you can see phase weights for each of the three stages. In our case, the initializer stage has more weight than the closer stage. We can see channel weights for each of the channels in your training set. You can see which channels are stronger in terms of the initializer stage, maybe the holder stage, or maybe the closer stage. Finally, we can see API calls per conversion type. For instance, in our case, we already had 3 API calls for our IHC training data test conversion type. We can also select the date range and look at the API calls for the conversion types across this time range. Now that the IHC model is trained and we looked at the parameters, let's actually use the endpoint and compute IHC results. First, let's get a couple of customer journeys. This is in the same format as you also uploaded and can be from a CSV file or, for instance, from a database or cloud storage. Here we have a couple of customer journeys in the same format as before. Let's compute IHC for this dataset. First, we have to specify the API key. You will find this on the main page of your login area in the IHC web service, as well as your conversion type ID. Again, this is the same one that we just trained the dataset for, IHC training data test. And now we also have to format the URL accordingly with the conversion type. Let's send the customer journeys we just looked at to the endpoint. We use a POST request to send this to the API endpoint. For exact syntax also in other languages besides Python, please have a look at the documentation on the website. If the endpoint computation was successful, you will receive a status code of 200 and in the value field your computed IHC results. After IHC was computed, we can aggregate the IHC results and visualize them. First, in a table view, where you can see for every channel initializer, holder, closer and IHC scores, as well as in a graph where you can see bar charts for every channel to see which channel is strong in terms of initializer, holder or closer stage. If you have any technical questions, you can find documentation on the website. You will be able to find out how to upload training data and then compute IHC results. And in case you have further questions, please do not hesitate to contact us.